Okay, so we said, we're on page 374 on top, we'll start from there. הנה בוודאי שבחינת המעשה והעסק בסור מרע ועשה טוב מצד עצמיות לנפש אלוקית. So that for sure the dealing in action of going away from bad and doing good from the essential point of your godly soul ba'a al yedei machshava b'tchila comes through thought to begin with. Vahu haratzon sheb'machshava la'elokut. It's a desire in your thought for godliness. Lasot ratzono b'ma'aseh kol panim, to do God's will. We said every Jewish soul has this thing in their soul, a spark that wants to do God's will. And the more you work on the inner parts, then you're going to do it in deeper ways. And the less you work on it, it's still going to be there a little bit, but then the animal soul could cover it over, and then trick the person into doing the opposite, thinking that's God's will. So now, what is this point? It's the ratzon that's in your machshava, desire that's in your thought. Okay, to do God's will at least. V'lo lavor ratzono b'fol mamash, not to actually break His will in actuality. So this thought, there's no inner light or closeness and life force. Rather, it is called krirut. You know the famous saying? It says the difference between krirut and apicorsis is just a hair's breadth. Right? Krirut is not good. Okay, but I'm saying this is at least something good here. So he's called to it. Al derech hanal b'nefesh ha'tivit. So too, in the natural soul, the animal soul, it's the second level we talked about. It's called the cold thought in contemplation, which means you're thinking about something, but it doesn't feel like it's really shaykh to you. It feels like it exists out there, but for me, it's not a possibility. That's called a cold thought in the machshava. Okay. It's going to become great, and you're going to look at it in a high way. You're going to see the greatness of the thing, but it's not shaykh to me. Like we said, the example in a physical sense was, we talk about someone who has a lot of money, and he has all these cars and these houses, and she's like, wow, it's so cool. That guy's a lot of money, but it has nothing to do with me, so I'm not going to ever feel really excited about it. As opposed to if you get a call, all of a sudden you got some big inheritance, or a certain business deal that went through and it was a really big deal, you're going to feel really excited about that. So that's the difference in the cold and the warm thought. So the cold thought, it's not shaykh to me. Meaning, yeah, it's great and it's big and it's amazing, but it's not connected to me at all. So therefore, it's only going to be a cold thought. But when you do that with elokus, so then therefore this cold thought, even though it's distant from you, but what comes out of it is that you come to the conclusion that it's true, and I accept the fact that it's truth. Therefore I want this to be in my heart, but it's not shaykh to me. It's still not connected to me, but I'm still going to do something about it, because it became true. So therefore, I'll do something about it. This, born out from this, is haskem, which means I agree to it. I will do the Torah. Godliness is great. It's distant for me. It's not really. I'm not really there, but I decide. I agree to the fact that it's real.
The Torah is real. Beyond just being convinced that it's true.
Well, you could even have.
Somebody else could come convince you of something else, then you can visit that.
Oh, you're saying can you turn it?
Purely intellectual, something more.
Well, you have some level of love and fear intellectually at this level. Like it became true to you. You don't feel like that it's shaykh for you. Therefore, we said that when it's just an heskem, what happens is that your whole avodas Hashem is in a way of a skafia. You have to break yourself in order for it to become real. The only problem is that you can't live in a skafia, because you eventually break. So what happens is that you let little things pass, a little bit here, a little bit there, because you can't break yourself all the time. You need pleasure in your soul, and if you're at this level, you're not going to feel pleasure in God, in ruchnius, because it's not shaykh for you. It's not yours. It's the other guy's thing. You know what I mean? So therefore, you're gonna do a skafia until you can't break yourself anymore, and then you're gonna fall a little bit, and then you're gonna re-skafia yourself. That's it.
Is it not shaykh to me? So is that because a person feels like it's just way above them. Like
Yeah.
you look at somebody who's a great rabbi and has got volumes and volumes of books and has great understanding, and I don't even know the Aleph base.
Yeah, that's a muscle for that would be a muscle for it, that it's you feel like you're never gonna get to that. Say a guy who has like 100 like super expensive cars, and you're like, I'm never gonna get that. Like it's not shaykh for me. It's not shaykh. So, but this we're talking about is really in Ava and Yira, love and fear of Hashem.
So it's partly a confidence issue.
Well, you don't believe. Yeah. Well, is it common? You don't believe that it's shaykh for you as well. So then why does that come about, and how do you actually fix your belief about it so you could actually make it real for yourself?
Like I just take the understanding.
What is that?
Like a person just like has a mistake in the calculation.
But it's not only calculation, because they understand their calculation got them to realize that it's true, just that they don't feel it's connected to them. So it's actually an emotional issue.
Yeah.
They don't feel that they could have that thing emotionally. It could be they don't feel worthy of it, or they don't feel like they're good enough for that thing. It could be those kind of feelings that are inside a person's soul. But I'm saying the more you actually do the work to do the contemplation, over time, that thing could become more shaykh for you. Right? Eventually, you could say, I could have it too. Like the more you're involved with it over time.
You have to build your I could have it muscle.
Yeah.
You just don't have the I could have
Right,
it.
still, because you're saying like a physical thing, you say, yeah, that's close to you, but maybe spiritual things are very far from you.
It's not necessarily a reason that you don't think you can have it. It's just that you haven't built the I can have it muscle.
Well, we said that, look, the person receives from his parents all the emotional things that he has to do the avoda on. So part of the avoda is unraveling that stuff in order to become more and more shaykh for alakus. And what that means, it could be all the things in between that's stopping you from thinking that you could connect to God, right? It could be emotional problems. It could be just thinking that's very far from you. There's a bunch of things in between that could stop you. But then, this is the avoda. When the thing is, my understanding of why it doesn't go into that so much is because once the person does some levels of his bonus, a little bit le'emis lamito, a tiny little bit of emis in there. So what happens is that God light shines through to the person's soul, and that automatically fixes everything else. It opens it up, so you don't have to deal with all little problems in between. You have to just work on getting into elokus. So once you get a little bit into elokus, then everything else just shines away, like it just fades away, basically. That's what I understand from these inyanim. That it doesn't go into all the details of the tikkunim in between to fix all these things. It talks about focus on elokus. Elokus is real, and the more a person like gets used to like elokus is real, and it's more real than everything you see, everything you feel is elokus is more real. And the more and more you get into that, then at one point you're going to experience it to a certain degree how it's real, and that'll cause more experiences of it, and then you're going to break past all those things in between. That's my understanding of that thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so because we learned one time in the Birei Zohar and Pashat Zriya talked about that specific thing. It says a person's born and he has like anger and he has tzimtzum in his brain and all these things, and it actually comes from the Shuir to Kollel. But the way to fix it is by the or coming into the person. That automatically makes the person have chesed and rachamim inside the soul and all these other good things that are godly. Just by having real connection to elokus, that fixes all the other things. Instead of going, sometimes when you go into details and you forget about elokus. I don't know. I just thought it wasn't this is the way that it was brought down like this. Kachi hu sibat toldot haeskem b'ma'aseh d'sur mora b'azatov v'nefesh elokim mitzad atzmit. Min ha'echlet b'machshava. So this is a decision within your thought, and this decision within your thought is emuna. Why? Hagam shu b'chinat richuk gadol, even though it's very distant from you. Sharei ein ha'inyan hazeh ma shehuchlat shetzarich lekayem ratzon Hashem b'chinat pinimius chayus mikiruv klal ki b'chinat elochut shebezeh u'ba b'chinat hester ma'od. Because his decision to do Hashem's will doesn't come from his chayus and his pinimius, or that he's received from it. He's not there at all. It's very hidden inside of him. So since the experience of that thing being real is hidden from the person, therefore when he makes a decision that he's going to do it, it's a form of emunah, because he believes that there is such a thing, which is a good start. Okay. Kumosh Hashem Shemaim Shagur Befi Kol, like it says the name of heaven was in the mouth of all. Nashim v'Am Haaretz, women in Am Haaretz, umaskirim Shem Hashem b'chol rega v'rega. They mention the name of Hashem every moment. Hashem yitbarach mavorach v'hu ha-moshia v'ozer. They say Hashem saves everything, and He is the one who brings salvation and helps. In Yiddish, it's gilopt. Okay, it means to help. Yeah. Okay. Uvelo pnimus called. There's no pnimus in that at all. Sharei yachol lasot davar ma amenaged ba'oto shamash. Because the person could go and do something against Hashem at that moment, as it says, Ganva apum machtarta rachmana karya she'azorlo. Okay, a person's going to steal and he's calling out to Hashem to help him have a successful mission in his robbery. So therefore, he's doing something against Hashem, but he's asking for Hashem's help. So therefore, the level of Amunah is there, but the Maisa, obviously, it's not right. Yeah. V'im ma'amin she'Hashem was there. If he believes that Hashem helps, lama yignov lavor al ratzono. If he believes Hashem helps, why would he steal to go against his will? Ach beit dvarim mefuradim hem etzlo. So these two things are separate by the person. Shezui vada emuna kvua b'nefesh elokit shebo b'chinat tiv'it v'atzmit she'Hashem hu ha'ozer lakol. That there's a natural part of his godly soul that's implanted, that Hashem is the one who helps. Kihu bara takol. He created everything, and He's the Achdut HaPashut. V'agneva ba mitzad ta'avot nafsho tivit. The stealing comes from his animal soul's natural desires. V'lezeh vara yachol liyot shemevakesh be'emet ezer Hashem alav al hatzlacho gneva. And because of this, he's actually asking Hashem in a true way to help him with his robbery.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yes.
he's actually doing it be'emes. Isn't it? Like he's not trying to.
It's like the guy that's a drunk, and he goes, he's in a bar, and he says, Hashem, nobody's here, and I need people to do this and that, so I can have my drinks. Please help me so I can get drunk.
Right. Similar.
You say it like you said before.
That what do you mean?
Like he's not in the gay. It's not like
I hear what you're saying. Like he doesn't know that he's doing something wrong.
No, it's not that. He knows he's doing something wrong. He knows he's not doing anything associated with Hashem.
Could be, yeah.
When we say
So it's a very candid prayer.
Hashem will help even if you're asking for the wrong thing.
Yeah, I
They
hear.
come from the broken vessel.
Don't we have that whole thing where we're asked not to pray for rain because the Kohen comes around and they don't want to get wet? What is that whole thing?
Well, the 2 weeks after the Chag,
Yeah, there's like
when
a
the people have to
whole
travel
thing
back
where
to the north, they have 14
where
days.
they please don't pray for rain, where it's like the person would want to pray, but in the end it's like maybe it's not such a good thing because it can still prayer can still be answered.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but. Umizeh raya kol panim shamuna afa pi shehu behester elakut ma'od.
It's a good thing you said praying, right? It's better than stealing without praying.
Stealing without praying. I
Stealing
don't know.
Praying is better than stealing without praying. At least just stick one, isn't it?
At least what?
There's a little bit of evidence.
I don't know, but it's also more dinim if he's praying when he's stealing, and if he's not, or it depends what month he's born in. As the Gemara says in Shabbos, right? It says
Yeah, but the Ramban
person
says
that's
you
born
gotta
on.
go the second year born for that to work.
What did you say?
The Ramban says you gotta go the second year born for that to work.
Okay, but it says the person born under the moon, he could do something wrong and no one notices. But the person born under the sun, always get caught. Right.
Because the sun is out in the open. And
Yeah, this is good. Doesn't matter what he's gonna do. Do something so small. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's the end of Shabbos. One of the last pages there.
See, that's Teflon.
So therefore, this amuna, it's very, very concealed. Aval hi TV, but it's natural. It comes from the word uman, which means to believe, or means a craft. or it also means meshicha tiv'it. It means a natural drawing after something naturally. Okay. You're naturally drawn after emunah to Hashem. That's every Jewish soul. Naturally they're going towards believing in Hashem.
There's another type also.
Yeah.
From Leibner Miller. He says, "V'dei Moshe Amunah."
Oh,
The
yeah.
hands of Moshe were Amunah. So you can't say the hands of Moshe were believing. The hands don't believe together in that, in relation to this idea.
Right.
So he says it means steadfast.
Oh, really?
But Uman Yad is a skillful person. You want to have the best you can get when you do Bris Milah, of course.
Yeah.
So,
No, Uman means to practice also. Litamen means to practice something.
right. So there's another type that's
Bizarre. It's cool.
steadfast. Which by the way, Amunah is, it's steadfastly
Right.
connected to
Yeah, exactly.
Hashem.
V'hu Yerusha ma'avot k'mo teva bebanim. So this is a Yerusha from our forefathers, like nature for their children. Hu b'chinat haskem tivi v'atzmi nefesh elokit. It's the last natural desire of your godly soul. Shemizeh nolda ma'aseh de pratit d'sur marav asatov. And through this, the action comes about of sur marav asatov. Because you believe in the Echad Me'od. Moteva etzlo, shelo la'avo ratzon, like it's a nature for you not to go against Hashem's will. V'raya mikiddush Hashem, and the proof is from Kiddush Hashem, shemeir koach amunah zu, b'chinat pnimis ad shimsor nafsho b'pol mamish. So Kiddush Hashem is what happens is, when a person says, do this, or they're going to kill you for it, so therefore this deeper part of your soul comes out, and the power of amunah comes in a pneumius way until a person's ready to give his life up for Hashem's, even though he could have been doing Averas his whole life, but when that test comes about, then it can cause that level of munah to rise up, and then he'll do anything for Hashem. Even though there could be a mixture of good and bad in his good actions, or legarme, like a person that says, I'm going to do tzedakah, and my tzedakah is going to it's going to be for my own self-grandeur, or for myself in general, which means I'm going to have a personal benefit from the tzedakah. I'm going to get 10 times back from God. That's one of the things. Or you're going to feel good about the tzedakah that you're doing, because look what you did, for example. Hari Amru, the sages say, Ha'omer sela zul tzedakah b'shvil shechiyeh b'ni. But the sages say, if you say this tzedakah, this coin, I'm going to give to tzedakah in order for my son to live, it's fully considered tzedakah. Okay, even though there is a Balaturim that says about this pasuk that there's gold, silver, and copper. It says gold is when you give tzedakah when everything's good. Silver is when you give tzedakah when it's hard situations, and it brings this pasuk. And then the copper is when a person gives it after they pass away. So it's still tzedakah, but it's copper in relation to this. In the psukim themselves is Rosh Tevas for Zahav, Kesef, and in this pasuk. So, but nonetheless, it's still considered full of tzedakah. Because your godly soul has a natural desire for tzedakah.
Nechoshes is an acronym. Mesinas Kollel Sheyomer Tenu. That's what he says.
In the Balaturim there?
If I'm not mistaken. Or he's quoting something else in another mention.
For
example, Nechoshes is a perfect example. Nun Ketchin Mesinat Kollel Sheyomer Tenu. He's too sick. So he says other people, give on my behalf.
Oh, that's another one. That's it. Yeah, give on. He raises money. For the cause of it. This that he says, only for my son to live. This is his animal soul that is concealing over the godly soul. So what's going on inside the person is the godly soul says, I need to give tzedakah. It's my natural thing that I need to do. It's a godly thing to do. And the animal soul says, okay, but just give it because you want your son to live. It has to be something involving the ego, the person's own benefit that's going to be mixed into it. Mm-hmm. And as we know, the kavana makes a big difference in actually how the things play out. There's the higher levels of kavana, the more unifications.
So that would
The
be
emes, what's
somebody
happening.
that davens for the idea of what I'm going to get for it.
Yeah, that kind of thing. V'chen l'ti'eh v'kai gavna, and also for his own grandeur and other things. Mashain ken of the kochavim, but the ones who serve the stars say de lagamayo bilvad avdin. They're doing it purely for themselves. Mitzad shorsh nafshan b'chinat gimel klipas tameos, because their source of their soul is in the 3 klipas tameos. Milvad chasidei umat, unless they're part of the chasidei umat. Hakdomim v'kai gavna, not explained over there what that means specifically, but there was the chasidei umat. I guess they had some taruva, so they had some tov, I guess, in the soul. But basically, so when the Jew's doing it, the godly soul wants to do good, but then the animal soul mixes in and makes it about himself. When a idol worshiper is doing it, it's purely for themselves. Hine lemata b'chinat hamaiseh desur mara va'aseh tov atzmiyim nevesh elokit shemeir bazeh b'chinat elokut b'gilui be'emuna pshuta al kol panim. So below the level of sur mara and aseh tov, the essential parts of his godly soul, shemeir bazeh b'chinat elokut b'gilui, that the godliness is revealed be'emuna pshuta, at least through emuna pshuta, bechlet machshava ratzon, with a decision of his thought and his desire. Hina hu kedug mashamatzinu be'erev rav. We see like the erev rav shelo haya kavanatam ritzuyah ba'tziyut mitzad nafsham, that their kavana was not from the essence, from their souls. Rak b'mashra'u hanisim. They only did things because they saw miracles. Alken miyad birotam shemuvdalim miYisrael. Therefore, right when they said that they are different from the Jewish people, removed from them, they made the egel. Okay, so basically, there's a chiddush. If someone sees a miracle and says, "I'm going to do the Torah because of that miracle," it's a much lower level than the natural part of your godly soul that's connected to God.
They don't do it for no reason.
Yeah,
Not a good reason, but just no reason at all.
right. It's just a natural natia towards that thing. Okay, v'chayich yesh harbe gam b'Yisrael. There's also a lot of Jews she'ikar ma'aseh, that the main action rak la'atzmam bilvad, it's only for themselves. Liknot shem bilvad, to acquire a name for themselves.
Amazing.
Like we have of the Raya Mehemnia on the pasuk, Anshe Shem, the people of a name. Okay, it means they do something to acquire a name, which is like Korach over here.
Didn't it say the Kesher Shem Torah is higher than the other things, sorry?
Yeah, but what's the explanation there in the ayin base? What does it say? We had a sikha about it. Pasha Noach was a sikha that explains what that is.
The Kesher Shem Torah fills in the other 3. It's like a mock.
Something like that. Yeah, I forget the explanation.
It's like how
The other 3 are shaykh to you, but the kesser is from a higher place. That I have to look. We went to one time. The sikha and Pasha Noach discusses that. Tzarech even there, but I'm saying to acquire, but saying someone that does something to acquire a name is different than someone who acquires a name as a result of being whatever it is. Achshe mat'im et atzmam beyoter liot tzadikim gorim beinehem. They mistaken themselves to be great tzadikim in their own eyes. Ve'ikar etzlam rak lomar, and the main thing for them is to say laman shmi, for my name, for the sake of my name. Davka yichabed Hashem, and then I will honor Hashem. B'nehem anikreim, these are called achichem sonechem menadechem kayadua. It means your brothers that are hated. Medanechem. What do you say? It doesn't say where it's from here. What? V'yesh kitot shenikarim tzvuim v'chanafim v'shakranim. There are, in the Gemara Sota, Daf Mabet, is that what we're on now? It says, Tzvuim, Chanafim, V'shachkanim. Okay, what's Tzvuim?
2 faces.
Oh, 2 faces, right. Chanafim is flatterer, people that do flattery, and Shakranim. Yeah, in the Gemara it says, why is the base of English destroyed? Because of the flatterers, right? Or these 3 people. That they would, flatter means that you give someone too much compliments so that they could like you.
Not just someone, you give a wicked person.
Only a wicked, but all doesn't apply for regular.
A wicked person, because if you cause other people not to do tshuva, you cause other people to praise this person to think, oh, this guy's okay.
Chazak. She'ein b'zeh shum kavanah retzuya atzmit nefesh elokit begilui. So these groups, there's no kavanah from the essential part of their godly soul in a revealed way. Meaning there's nothing good within those things. Like it's tzedakah they're doing because you want your son to live. That's considered tzedakah because there's actually be'emes, part of your godly soul being revealed that once it gets tzedakah. It's just that it gets mixed with your animal soul. But these groups doesn't have that. Doesn't have the revelation of godliness, godly soul within the things that they're doing. Rakim kol zeh b'chinas tehelem gadol yesh b'zeh b'chinas elokut nefesh elokit. But with all this, there is a great concealment of the godliness in the godly soul. For Raya, the proof is kasher yavo alav betushim gdolim v'yisrim v'tzar. When a person comes with difficulties come upon the person, v'salik nehora dishmata, and the light of the soul goes out. Other way around. The light of the soul comes out, ve'yivkeh, and they'll start crying, which means through the difficulties that a person is experiencing, that causes the light of the soul of the person to flare up, and then he's going to cry about it. Okay, there's not the case by idol worshippers. Raya mebitush de Moshe shamar lahem pnu v's'u lachem. Okay, in Parsha, it's Parsha Dvarim. Oh, no, it's in Sefer Dvarim. I don't know if it's in this Parsha, but it says shechazru b'hem v'amru chatanu. They came back and said we sinned. Okay, v'chen mima sheget ha me'useh b'Yisrael kasher. Okay, this in Gittin is written down. Mi shadi noten. Okay, if the law comes about that a person has to divorce his wife, he doesn't want to divorce her, so the Beit Din Shel Yisrael b'chol makom b'chol zman, in any place and any time, could hit him until he says, "I want to do it."
So if he never agrees, is it proof that he's not actually an idolater?
What do you say? Right. So what is going out of this is Chen Kofim V'ma mashchin al tzedakah, and you also could force someone to give the tzedakah. Okay, so that's like, so these concepts is that there's a hiddenness, a godliness within it. So therefore, you force it, and then it comes out, and the godliness actually, it's still there to a minute degree, which makes the get kosher, which makes it tzedakah considered tzedakah, even though the person didn't want to do it, and you forced them to want it. But now that he wanted it, it actually, it's still something. It's still a level. There's a very minute level, but it is something still.
If he never gives in, and you say that that's a riot, he's an
Erev Rav or idolatry.
Therefore, the get was never crushed in the first place.
They wouldn't give it unless he said, "Don't give it." If they kept on beating him, then he never was able to agree to it. Maybe he's not Jewish.
I'm saying the ksuba.
Oh, the ksuba. Good shaila.
In the language of the Gemara, it's a get no musa, that the
Forced get. Right. Okay. Yes. Lama lo batel gedze shirayu anus. She'en omrim anus ela mi she'nilchat v'nidchak la'asot davar she'eno mechuyav min haTorah la'asoto. Aval mi she'tukfo yitzro hara. But this person is Yetzer Hara so strong, and it's wants to bavatal a mitzvah or want to do an avera, and you hit him until you made this thing that he's chayav to do, or that he's letting go of something. Midavar she'asur la'asoto. Ein ze anus mimeno. It is not considered forcing from him. Elahu anas atzmo b'dat hara. He forced himself with his bad ideas to not want to give it, for example. So therefore, this person doesn't want to get divorced. Since he wants to be part of Israel, so therefore he wants to do all the mitzvahs and to stop himself from all the averas. And his yetzer is the thing that is pushing on him. The kevan shehuka, therefore, if you hit him until you're actually beating his yetzer down, then he's going to say rotzeani. Therefore, it's lerotzono. So you reveal his true will inside his heart. Okay, just one in parentheses it says like the sukkah of when Mashiach comes. It's Masechet Avodah Zarah. It says, "Sheyivchanu b'nakuda zu Yisrael v'avdei kochavim." This is the thing that will be